Good evening. Welcome to my fortnightly program, Successful Trading or Successful Investing. The first two episodes were clearly for a trader and hence called Successful Trading. This episode is for an investor, is more broad based and for an investor and hence called Successful Investing. In this episode 3, I used two incidents from Gavaskar's successful cricketing career and relate it and use it as an analogy for investing lessons that an investor can learn. I love this photograph of Gavaskar and hence I put it here. But this is really the summary of his career, right? I mean, he's played 125 test matches, scored 10,122 runs with an average of 51.3. That's incredible. 34 centuries in this period of time. It was an incredible career, and from an Indian perspective, he was probably the best cricketer of his times. So clearly one of the best that we have ever seen in one days too, in the one day game too, which came much later during his career. He's played 108 matches, out of which he scored around 3,092 runs and with an average of 35.1. So he clearly improved as a one day player as he went along. Gavaskar has had some incredible highlights in his cricketing career. He's been the first batsman to score centuries in both innings of a test match thrice. He's the first batsman to score 10,000 runs in test cricket. He's batted against some of the all-time great fast bowlers like Andy Roberts, Holding, Marshall, Garner, Lilly, Thompson, Hadley, Imran Khan, Botham and Willis, all of them without a helmet. He's won the World Series of Cricket in Australia in 1984-85. This was just after the 1983 World Cup triumph under Kapil Dev. He introduced the idea that leg spinners can play a vital role in one-day cricket. If you remember, he brought Lakshman Shivram-Krishnan to Australia for the first time, and that Lakshman Shivram-Krishnan actually went on to play a very critical role in India's victory in that series. He scored 221 in the second innings of the 1979 Oval Test in an incredibly improbable run chase. Needing 438 to win, India scored 429 for 8, falling short by only 9 runs of what would have been an extremely famous victory. Despite all these great highlights in his cricketing career, there has been one innings which has been inexplicable. In the first One Day World Cup in 1975 in England, England scored 334 runs in 60 overs. Those days, the One Day International game used to be a 60-over affair, not the 50 overs that we have today. England scored 334 for 4 in 60 overs. India replied only 132 for 3 in the full 60 overs, with Gavaskar scoring an excruciatingly painful 36 not out in 176 balls. Till date, nobody really understands the reason for that. Gavaskar himself, the great man himself, has not explained it, nor has anybody seriously questioned him and asked him what prompted him to do the thing that he did that day. So if not losing a wicket is considered a battle, then Gavaskar won every battle against the bowlers that day. But he ended up losing the war. India lost the game. This is what happens when we misunderstand the rules of the game that we are playing. In Test cricket, maybe not losing the wicket was not just winning the battle, but also maybe it inevitably led to winning the war. In one day international, however, winning the battle is important. Yes, it is important. That is, not losing your wicket is important. But it is more important to score at a required run rate to win the war. The game cannot be won by just preserving your wicket. You have to score at a certain required run rate in order to win the game. If you don't score at that required run rate, anyway you have lost the match. So this is very important to understand the rules of the game. And I think maybe Gavaskar didn't understand it properly, or maybe he gave up from the moment England scored 334 runs. He thought that the required run rate was too huge and it is better to not lose your wicket than try and attempt to score that runs. So what are the lessons for the investor from this incident in Gavaskar's life? First is clearly that investing is not a game of test cricket, but it is a one-day international game. It is not just sufficient to preserve your wicket, but you have to also score at a required run rate to win that game. So investing is like that. You have to score at a required run rate. Now, what is that required run rate that you have to score in investing? That required run rate is nothing else but the inflation, but the rate of inflation. We have to score on a post-tax basis, that is after tax. You have to be able to score at least at the rate of inflation in order to win the game of investing. Investing in risk-free investments like fixed deposits, etc., is akin to Gavaskar scoring 36 not out in a losing cause. You will win every battle by not losing money, like Gavaskar did by not losing his wicket. But in the end, you will lose the game because your investments will be worth less due to inflation eating away at the value of your own money. It is possible, however, that in an effort to score at a certain required run rate, the team might end up losing the game. Like in one day cricket, you need to score at, let's say, 6 runs per over to win the game. And in an attempt to do that, to score that 6 runs per over, you might end up losing the game. Similarly, it is possible that an investor will earn less than the rate of inflation or even lose some money or earn less than the fixed deposits rate of return. But in the effort to beat inflation or in the effort to invest in the kind of instruments that will beat inflation, it is possible that in the short term the investor would score less than the fixed deposit or maybe score even lose some money. But at least he makes an effort to beat inflation. That means he at least understands the game of investments, that it is a one day game, that you have to beat inflation and you make an effort to beat it. Like the cricketers try and make an effort to score at the required run rate, it doesn't guarantee success, but it at least ensures that you're playing the game in the right way and that there is a probability of success. Trying to just play the game in such a way that you preserve your wickets will ensure loss. It will ensure a loss. But trying to play the game in such a way that you score at the required run rate could lead to a loss, but there is always a great chance of success too. But if an investor knows the rules of the game and keeps at it, then in the long run he is certainly likely to get better at that game. And like Gavaskar, even probably score a century in a one-day international by the end of his career. So it is all about getting better at the game of investment. So if you keep at it, you get better. So you might initially try and beat inflation in the game of investment by investing in instruments that are riskier, but over a period of time you learn the game well enough to play it in the right way and actually win it. So in the first incident that I just narrated where Gavaskar scored 36 runs not out of 170 odd balls, by that incident Gavaskar has told an investor what he should not be doing, what is not to be done in the game of investment, or what is not to be done in the game of one day cricket. But in the second incident that I am going to narrate, Gavaskar is actually positively teaching what is supposed to be done by an investor. So this is regarding his last test. It was in 1987 versus Pakistan. That was the fifth test of the series, and I have seen this live and I can therefore attest to this fact that I'm just talking about. So Pakistan played first and they scored 116 runs. When India replied in the first innings, they were able to score 145 runs, thereby getting a lead of around 29 runs. But in the second innings, Pakistan scored 249, leaving India 221 to win in the fourth innings. And that pitch was by then turning square. That is, any spinner could land the ball and the pitch would make this ball turn square. There were puffs of dust coming out every time the ball landed on the pitch. So it was an impossible pitch to play on. And Gavaskar scored one of the best innings that I ever seen an Indian cricketer play. He scored 96 and was the 8th batsman out when India's score was 180. So he had scored 96 out of the 180 runs India had scored by the time he got out. And eventually India ended up making only 204, thereby losing by 16 runs. the kind of innings, the kind of class that he displayed actually was so good that people, even the opponents were left in admiration of that game that Gavaskar played that day. So whatever be the case, by the that was the last test, and there were no more tests to play for quite some time. And by June or July of that year, Gavaskar had retired from Test cricket. So that turned out to be the last innings that Gavaskar ever played in Test cricket. And then people were actually flummoxed as to, he was at the peak of his career, he was doing very well, he was still in great form, and he had still retired. So so questions were asked as to why did he actually retire, and that is when he made this great statement that a cricketer should always retire when they ask why, and not when they ask why not. So this is the incredible lesson that Gavaskar taught us, that you should retire when they ask why and not when they ask why not. So the second lesson for an investor from Gavaskar career is this: invest when the markets make you wonder why should you ever invest, and not when it makes you wonder why not invest. Which effectively translates into this: that when does the market make you wonder why should I ever invest? It is when markets have been doing badly. It is when markets have actually not even given what the fixed deposits have been giving. So in the last couple of years, you would have seen that the returns from the market has been abysmal. I mean, they have 3-4 years ago, if somebody had invested, he would probably not have even got equal to what a fixed deposit has given. So the question is always asked these days: why should I ever invest in equity? Why should I take the risk when it doesn't even beat a fixed deposit return? And Gavaskar is telling us that this is precisely the time when you should be investing. You should precisely invest when the markets make you wonder why should you ever invest. And there are times when the markets makes you feel so good that you say, why not invest? Let me borrow and invest. Let me invest a little money that comes my way. Let me invest in the market. Why not invest? And that is exactly at a time when the markets have been already giving good returns. That's when an investor feels carefree enough to ask, why not invest in the market? So in 2016-17, when the market had given a phenomenal return in mid caps and small caps, I remember there were investors coming and saying, I want to invest in small caps, I want to invest in mid cap funds. So there was this time when there was a internal drive from the investors to go ahead and invest. It was like they being able to ask, why not invest now? Why not do this? Why not do that? And that is precisely probably the time when you should take a step back and say, I will not invest now, because it is becoming too easy to invest. So what Gavaskar has said is that you should actually invest when the market makes you wonder why should you ever invest. So which means when it is not very easy to invest, you should probably think of investing. And when it is very easy to invest, you should probably hesitate, take a step back. This is one of the lessons that Gavaskar has taught us. It is said that any good talk should end with a proper conclusion. So these are my conclusions. Okay, one, of course, that Gavaskar is an all-time great cricketer. There is no dispute. I don't want to get into a debate into that. Gavaskar is an all-time great cricketer. Yes. So for the investor, the lesson to learn is that we should understand the game of investing and learn its rules. The objective of the game is to beat the required rate of return, which is the rate of inflation. This is the objective of the game. You have to, on a post-tax basis, beat inflation. That is the objective of the game of investing. In an effort to do that, we might even end up losing money in the short term. But over the long term, it is likely that we will get better at the game, much like Gavaskar did, and will even become good at it. Like Gavaskar did, by the end of his career, he was very good in the game of one day and even scored a century in a one day international. Finally, remember the Gavaskar lesson. Always invest when the market makes you wonder why should you ever invest, not when it makes you wonder why not invest. So this is the important conclusion, that when market makes it easy for you to invest, take a step back. When market makes it very difficult for you to invest, that is, you wonder, looking at the rate of return that the market has been giving, why should I ever invest? Then take a step forward, take a deep breath, and go ahead and invest your money at that time. If you liked what you saw and you want to be notified about our new videos, then please show your love by subscribing to our channel. Please don't forget to press the bell icon too. Don't forget to visit www.themoneymojo.com for more on our training programs, podcasts and blogs.